what's your shared purpose? You just want to have a fair election? You want somebody else to be in charge?
So it's a good question. So their argument is that they need a new regime. Others argue that they need a democratic regime. Right? But what I was putting really at the center for the workshop was, you know, you have an opportunity, hold an election. What are you going to do? How are you going to use this as an entry point to something? So I was, in going into the meeting, I'm already trying to figure out what do I need to put in place, right? So I'm selecting the venue for us to be very isolated, for there to be low risk of someone else joining, coming in, no one else hearing about it, that it not be covered on media, trying to isolate our space, make it safe. And I've designed an agenda which should feel relatively safe to them. On day 2, I've got a lot of technical stuff. Technical stuff always brings the temperature down for people, right? So I have case studies from other countries we're going to work on. I have election laws that they can look at. I have, you know, all of the sorts of things that they can look at the agenda and they can be like, oh yeah, this is, you know, this will be helpful. This is additional information or something. And then on day 3, which is where I expect the real work to happen, I've got, you know, what will we do? Essentially, in different ways, framed in different ways through my agenda. So sure enough, I send out the invitations. We get about 25 responses, one of which is a very senior figure in the armed opposition, and his name's Malik Agar. A huge, very impressive man. In the peace mediation process, when the South and the North split up, he would always tell me his job in that negotiation was, when it got to a point that was sticky, his job was to slam his fist on the table, get up and march out the room. And this was his job in the, you know, in his side of the pact. So people would always, you know, not knowing that this was staged in many ways, he had a temper, this was his job. So he's a very impressive personality. He agrees to come. And so I get on the plane, I get to Tanzania, I book into the resort, which is lovely and very isolated. I walk into the room on day 1, and people start trickling in, and the local organizer comes up and whispers in my ear, we have a problem. Malik's been detained at the border. So now, we're already working this incredibly stressful issue for them. But now we've just added a completely different layer for them, right? So they are like, I know, they're gonna like hit the stratosphere at this point. So we sit down and announce that we're really disappointed. The General Agar has been detained at the border. We're very sorry about this. We're trying to make inquiries. We're going to see what we can do. And in their heads, like all of these are in a similar category to Malik. They're in exile, right? So they are like way out of control at that point, because they're now thinking someone's going to come and arrest them, or that we somehow betrayed them. So what do you think happened? They could have, right? You could imagine people getting up and leaving. What else can you imagine might happen?
A lot of screaming.
A lot of screaming. Where's the screaming going to be directed?
You.
Right. And then what would you do? Yeah, what does that look like?
Acknowledge
Right,
the situation,
right,
the potential anxiety.
right.
What else do you do?
And then I guess refocus the attention to why they were looking at it in the first place.
Okay, how quickly are you going to be able to do that?
Probably.
I mean, sooner the better, but.
Yeah, you want to do it soon, but the thing is, you can't just say like we're here because of that sort of thing. Because you're just.
So, in a situation that is not uncommon for me, when you are coming in a role representing a whole set of things. When I come into this room, I'm representing the West, I'm representing the donor community, I'm representing, the outsider, I'm representing the authority that's let them down. So this is all like my role. It's not, when we say depersonalize the conflict, it's about understanding the separation between role and self, right? Anyone could have been standing there. We could have put Tim there. We could have put any of you there. The reaction was going to be the same. So this is not personalized response. This is a response in the system because of the role I'm playing. So sure enough, the anxiety leads to very loud outbursts. Shouting, how could you do this to us? You betrayed us. The West has never been on our side. They just abandoned us, and this is kind of happening. So we have this big table, and I'm sitting here, and everyone is sitting around the table, and they're all doing this essentially. Everything that's gone wrong in the world should be essentially laid at my feet. And they're very agitated as well, because although none of them say it, if this general is actually arrested and is being held, this is a very, very big loss for their cause. So essentially I'm acknowledging. I hear you, we're doing what we can to find out. Let me tell you what we did in advance. Let me show you the letter that said he was going to be allowed to travel. I'm really disappointed. I agree with you. This is so disappointing. Work through this. It ends up being most of the first day in different forms is this kind of disorganized, disoriented despair. At the end of the first day, we are not on the what can we agree about phase of this workshop. At the end of the day, we're lucky we get a message from Malik saying that he's turned around and he's headed back. So they've kind of released him at the border. And so their disequilibrium is kind of able to drop a little bit. And we're still way high. But, we're starting to enter into a phase where at least we can start having conversation. So then what is the choice? What are you going to do? I thought we were going to be here. When I planned this workshop, we're actually up here. I know I have something really destabilizing I want to work on. What do you do? What are your choices?
Change your pace.
Change pace? What would that look like?
Speed up your agenda.
Speed it up? Meaning?
You spent most of day one trying to handle anxiety, right? And you cut that short on day two and continue with your agenda.
Okay, so your suggestion is we should go quickly. Are we going to skip the technical stuff? Are we going to go quickly into the harder question?
Is the technical stuff needed? Or was it just a tool to help people that further? And then which is better, doing more anxiety control or more technical stuff? I
Right.
guess more anxiety control.
That's where your choices are. Right? Are you going to follow your agenda? Do you know the impact of the next topic on your agenda? Is it going to raise the heat, or is it going to help people hold steady?